the Twin Cities, where two men and two worlds collided. Minneapolis is consistently ranked one of the most livable cities in the country. But underneath what was branded as Minnesota nice, there was tension. A city divided along racial lines with conflicts between the men and women in blue and communities of color. Are they protecting and serving in this neighborhood?
No.
Former Ohio State basketball player P.J. Hill was born and raised here.
Like Dr. Martin Luther King said, injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere.
He says George Floyd's murder is why he is now an activist. Have you been stopped by police personally?
Yes.
How many times?
Countless. I can't even count.
African Americans make up only 20% of the population, yet they account for nearly 60% of use of force incidents at the hands of police.
No justice, no peace!
George Floyd's death transformed smoldering frustration into a burning fury. The police precinct where the four officers worked was consumed, as was the nightclub where Floyd once worked security. We met owner Maya Santamaria outside what was left.
So this is the epicenter of the Latino community.
How would you describe your interactions with him personally?
He was that guy that you walk in and he had this big smile and he would just call me boss lady. He'd say, "How you doing, boss lady? How are you tonight?" Derek
Chauvin was also working at the Latin Club when off duty. He worked outside. Floyd, 6'4" and 223 pounds, was known affectionately as Big Floyd. He grew up in one of Houston's poorest and most segregated neighborhoods. By all accounts, he was a happy kid. He played football. That's him, number 88, catching the pass. And he was an accomplished basketball player.
He was a monster on the court, but in life, in general, talking to people, a gentle giant.
Philonis Floyd says his older brother George was always the center of attention.
Man, when I tell you, he lights up a room, man.
Oh, is that right?
Big guy, friendly guy. Tell you anything you want to know.
Floyd moved to Minneapolis 5 years ago for a change of scenery and to be closer to some of his friends. Derek Chauvin grew up just outside the Twin Cities and trained as a cook. He served 2 stints in the U.S. Army before settling in Oakdale, a mostly white suburb. He joined the Minneapolis Police Department 19 years ago. During that time, he was involved in at least 2 shootings, including one fatal incident in 2006 with a man who allegedly had a gun. Chauvin was exonerated in both cases. Police records show 17 complaints against him, but he was cleared in 16 of the cases. He also received 2 letters of reprimand. None of it derailed his career. Do you think Derek had a problem with black people?
I think he was afraid and intimidated.
320, we're code 4.
On Memorial Day, the police were sent to this corner store after a customer passed a phony $20 bill to pay for cigarettes. That customer was allegedly George Floyd. According to the criminal complaint, officers on the scene pulled Floyd out of his Mercedes SUV, handcuffed him, and walked him to the sidewalk. He can be seen in this video sitting calmly on the ground. A few minutes later, Officer Derek Chauvin arrives on the scene, but at that point, there is a gap in the video. Until we see Floyd on the ground.
I will.
And that fatal knee pressed into Floyd's neck for 8 minutes and 46 seconds.
Get up, we get it right. I can't.
Were you surprised when you saw Officer Chauvin pressing his knee into George Floyd's neck?
I was not surprised when I initially saw his knee on his neck, to be honest.
Why not?
Because I've seen Chauvin do stuff along those lines. What surprised me was that he didn't stop right away once George was obviously, saying, okay.
He knew that he was pretty much finished.
Is it possible that Chauvin knew exactly who George Floyd was and that this was personal in some ways?
I would think it was personal.
You think it was?
I think it was.
Say his name! Say his name!
The image of Minneapolis that people across the country have seen, is it accurate?
It's an accurate snapshot.
Alan Page, the Hall of Fame former defensive tackle for the Minnesota Vikings and former state Supreme Court justice, acknowledges that the city he loves has a race problem. Page has an extensive personal collection of slavery artifacts, a daily reminder of a nation's tortured history of racism.
The question really is, I think, whether we will ever change.
George Floyd! George Floyd!
You and I and each one of the people watching this, I don't know. I am hopeful. I get my hope from young people.
Take a look behind me here. We have more fires in the city of Minneapolis. There seems to have been an escalation overnight. Firefighters are here trying to douse the flames that have been spreading through this neighborhood. Take a look down here and you see this large contingent of firefighters. You have burned out cars, and the concern is the flames and the smoke could do more damage. Now, the firefighters, they couldn't do their jobs without this line of security. This is the National Guard trying to help out as well. Well, there have been some pretty high-profile incidents here.
Just sit down, bro. Sit down.
Robert Johnson getting knocked around. Gabriel Ramirez.
You need to stop flexing on me.
Officers squeezed his neck after he was handcuffed. Daniel Shaver on his knees begging for his life in a Mesa hotel room. Caught on video.
There is nothing that those officers did that was outside of the training that they had received.
That Robert Johnson video. Is that what you're taught to do?
We're taught to handle the situation.
Was that handling the situation, or was that excessive force?
That was handling the situation.
Jeff, good morning to you. Massive is the word.
Yeah, I was going to use that same word because it's so apropos in terms of describing what is happening here behind me. You see this armed National Guard presence, and really that's the image that sticks in your mind, but also blocking this major intersection, this huge truck. They call this a 5-ton truck, and you can see why. And across D.C., you are seeing military hardware like all of this as security ramps up. Take a look behind me here. We have more fires in the city of Minneapolis. There seems to have been an escalation overnight. Firefighters are here trying to douse the flames that have been spreading through this neighborhood. Take a look down here and you see this large contingent of firefighters. You have burned out cars, and the concern is the flames and the smoke could do more damage. Now, the firefighters, they couldn't do their jobs without this line of security. This is the National Guard trying to help out as well. Law enforcement there, local law enforcement all the way down this street. And in the background, you see billowing black smoke filling the sky. That is one of the many fires that have been set here in Minneapolis. There are some to the east of us in St. Paul as well, where we're told about 170 fires have been set. Law enforcement, a mix of it, including the National Guard, have been brought in to try and calm things down. About 500 National Guard members have been activated to try to control the situation here on the ground.